Thanks for joining us for the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Branded Strategic share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy. I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
And thanks for that kind introduction, Jimmy. And to all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. Together, we are the personalities behind Branded Hospitality Ventures. We work at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, capital, and of course, coffee. That is what we do, Jimmy. We love coffee. We love capital, technology, innovation, and hospitality. Jimmy, we got an incredible show with an incredible guest. I don't know how we get these guests. But Jimmy, before we jump into it, I must tell everybody listening, all three of us, that I got to tell you, Jimmy, there is a great new sponsor here at the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Chico's Bail Bonds, as you know, has no longer our sponsors. We don't have to wear the jersey anymore, Jimmy, the Chico's Bail Bond shirt that you have. You don't have to wear it anymore. Our new sponsor is a marketplace, Jimmy, it's Boom. Boom is a marketplace. You go boom.store. It is a technology marketplace for everyone in the hospitality and food service business who is looking for a solution. If you're looking for a tech solution and you own a restaurant, a hotel, a bar, anywhere food and beverages sold, you got to go check out Boom, because let me tell you, there are over 500 of the most innovative, the best technology platforms out there, Jimmy.
It's pretty impressive. I got to tell you, Shatz, one of the only numbers I think you ever get right on the podcast is when you comment about how many companies we have on the marketplace.
546 and a half.
Yes, that's great. Any other time you touch numbers, I got to say, I'm squeamish. I'm getting nauseous. Terrible with the numbers.
But you know what number I'm good with, Jimmy? You know one number I got? You know what it cost to use Boom if you own a restaurant, you want to go on Boom, you want to find point of sale, inventory, HR, workforce management, you want to find online ordering, you want to find something. You know how much it costs?
Oh, this sounds very expensive. Very expensive.
You think, right?
I think.
Zero.
0.0. How do we make money charging zero? How does Boom make money charging zero?
Jimmy, you are the finance guy, and I'll leave it to you. Jimmy, we got a guest waiting in the queue. Let's get to it.
By the way, let me just finish the punchline. Volume, Jerry. We make it up with volume.
Yeah, I forgot. Volume, yes.
Volume. All right, enough of that banter. Boom, shout out to you. But let's dig in. We have a very exciting episode today. Our guest is our friend, Mr. Jacob Jaber, co-founder of Philz Coffee and consumer investor.
I think very exciting. Isn't it Phil Jaber?
I do not think it is Philz. It is Jacob Jaber, co-founder of Philz Coffee, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Chat, you said it in the intro. I saw what you did there. Technology, innovation, capital, and coffee. I saw what you did. I know what you did. I like that. But listen, before we bring Jacob in, he's wondering, when the hell do I get involved with the show? Or is it just, I'm just here to watch Chats and Jimmy talk? But before we get Jacob in, and he's coming in soon, being that our podcasts are released on Tuesdays, we now have a segment called Trivia Tuesday. Every week, we have a fun trivia question about our guest, but here's the catch. You got to stick around to the end to find the answer. So here's the way this works. We call it 2 truths and a lie. Say that 10 times fast. 2 truths and a lie. Okay? If you don't know how it works, and Chatsy's still trying to figure it out, I'm going to give you 3 facts about our friend Jacob. 2 are true. 1 is false. Shatsy, 2 + 1 = 3. Just trying to help you out. Okay? 2 are true. 1 is false. Here we go. Here are the 3 facts. Number 1, Jacob's hidden talent is juggling. Fact 2, Jacob used to work as an Abercrombie & Fitch model.
He is extremely handsome.
He is very handsome, man. He is a very handsome. He's a tall drink of water, I got to tell you.
And I don't know. He's not. Is he standing?
Fact 3, Jacob almost got drafted by the NBA.
Oh, Jimmy, everybody almost got drafted. I almost got drafted. I mean, everybody almost got drafted in the NBA.
Your sports career ended with JV soccer, okay? High school JV soccer. All right, Jacob, hidden talent, juggling. Jacob used to be an Abercrombie & Fitch model. Jacob,
how tall are you?
6 feet.
6 feet, baby. Okay.
You see what I did there, Jimmy?
I see what you did there. All right.
And there's a lot of great 6 feet
I've
players.
seen those Abercrombie models, man. Ain't no 5'8" like me.
All right. Anyway, we're very excited. Remember, stick around to the end of the episode to find out the real story. Jacob, we're finally welcome to the podcast, my friend. We'll let you take the lead. Please give us a little background about yourself and, of course, Philz Coffee.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a real pleasure. I love the energy.
That's a lie. He's already lying, Jimmy.
I think he's being honest.
2 minutes on the show, he's already lying.
There's one day a week I'm honest, and that's Fridays. So I'm telling the truth.
There we go. Honest Fridays.
Honest Fridays. So I love people. I've been in business since I was 9 years old. I started in a convenience store, my dad's convenience store in the Mission District in San Francisco, standing on top of milk crates, ringing up people at the register. Hated school because I felt like I was forced to learn stuff I wasn't interested in from people who weren't interesting. So I kind of put all of my energy into working with my dad, and I learned a ton about business and people there, and I fell in love with it. And I've been doing that mostly ever since. And I think the coffee business really helped me learn more about people, because when you're in the coffee business, you're really in the people's business, and you learn how to interact with different people from all walks of life. And the most important thing my dad taught me was respect, kindness, and doing the right thing. And those are values I hold very near and dear to my heart, because no matter where you come from, you got to respect people. And this is how we built a community of different types of people who come together over a cup of coffee. And that's how we grew the business. Started with one store, didn't know what the hell we were doing. We still don't know a lot. We're learning every day.
Figuring it out.
We're at almost 75-ish stores. And and I've been doing that.
How big is the Ish store, by the way?
The Ish is about half built. Half built. So I've been doing that for 20 years, from one store to 75-ish stores. And I fell over the years in love with investing and helping founders, because I got help when I started. I didn't know anything. So I love giving back and helping founders in the consumer space. So I'm starting to do a lot more of that, investing, advising. And I built a little holding company that I'm now working on that has 3 parts to it. It's investing in companies, it's buying small businesses and helping them grow, or it's a studio. It's an incubation studio where we build things if we have ideas. So that's what I'm working on now. And I'm really excited to hopefully 50 years from now, look at a painting, and every day we're trying to, create this painting of the best consumer brands in the world that delight people and delight customers and are really customer obsessed. So
that's awesome.
That's what's happening.
Thank you for all that. And it's been a great podcast. Jimmy, next week on the podcast, we have another guest. This has been a great one. There's nothing really more to say. I mean, we've got everything out of Jacob now. So who's next week, Jimmy?
I got to tell you, I'm more excited about this podcast now that Jacob just gave the intro than when we started, because it reminded me a lot of my own pop worked for my grandfather. My grandfather had a bodega, had a little market,
right?
A little bodega.
I'm 109th, 120 something. Where was that?
Up in Washington Heights.
Your dad quoted me at your birthday party this week. Give me the whole story.
Before Lin-Manuel made the Heights famous, my dad and my grandfather had a bodega up there, and my dad was a stock boy. And to Jacob's point, it was getting to know the community, the neighborhood, and it's such a high-touch business. And I got to tell you, you and I were bartenders, Shats, but I got to tell you, the coffee barista, the coffee shop's as personal as the bar and a lot freaking healthier. Like, it's a little more, hey, how's your day? Get ready for the day. We were dealing with customers coming out of work being like, "Oh, that was a tough day. Give me two or three fingers." But anyway, I digress.
It's awesome. And listen, we got a lot to talk about, because anybody's got 75-ish stores. That's a lot to talk about in the coffee business. I remember out in San Francisco with you, Jimmy, not that long ago, and I saw a bunch of Philz Coffees, and we got some coffee because all they talk about is Philz Coffee out there. Like, I don't know what he puts in it, and offline he'll tell us.
I'll tell you what he puts in it. I'll tell you right now, Shaq.
Cocaine? What is it?
No, I'll tell you. Oh my God! I'll tell you what he puts in the coffee.
Folgers coffee?
Love.
You got it. The secret is love and passion.
Yes.
I knew I tasted something weird.
No one cares about.
You feel you feel that there's a smile. It's like it is part of that DNA. They are welcoming you into their store, which is an extension of it's their home, it's their living room, and you're coming in there. It was love. I'm not kidding. I'm serious about that.
We call it. You're totally right about that. My dad and I would call this grandma's house style hospitality, because when you go to grandma's house, what happens? She welcomes you. She wants to feed you. She wants to overfeed you.
Bazooka chewing gum every time.
She'll give you money, and she'll just spoil you, and she'll love you. So how do you bring this grandma's house hospitality? And grandma always puts love in the food, and you can taste the care. So we try to treat every customer with that same level of love and care. And if you do that, you're going to be rewarded.
I love it. All right, listen, we got a lot to cover here, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes, or maybe not even 2 minutes. I want to give the quick founder story, how I built this from Jacob, Philz Coffee, how I built this in under 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, started out as a barista with my dad. We didn't know much. We knew 2 or 3 things. 1, how to treat people. 2, how to make a personalized cup of coffee. And 3, we knew how to work the business. We knew how to make sure, we started with nothing. So when a 12-cent cup fell on the floor, we got pissed. That cost money.
Cents.
So we had that mindset. And I think what we did is we focused on those things, and we supplemented our strengths with people who were great at things that we didn't really know how to do, which is, create systems and processes and organizational structure to help us get to the 10th store, the 11th store, the 12th store. And we've actually at one point, and I don't know if this is true today, I have to check, but we're considered the largest independent third wave coffee company in America.
I tell right now, that's fact. I know for a fact that's a fact, Jimmy.
I believe it is.
Fact check it.
All right, there it is.
I fact checked it. Yeah, of course,
it's real news. It's real news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, 100%. Who's going to argue with you? No one on this podcast, that's for sure.
And that's it. That's it. And in terms of investing and advising, I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, and it gives me the most joy. And I try to pay attention to what brings me the most joy and spend time on those things. So helping entrepreneurs, strategizing, finding product market fit, building a team, and investing. I have almost 20 companies in our portfolio, and we're out
we're
there.
We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into that because there's a lot to digest here, Jimmy.
Yeah, listen, I love the story about how you work with your father and how this came to be, how I built that. Shachi, I swear that sounds like I've heard that before, but okay.
I just made that up.
For that. I think so. I think you might be biting off someone else's bit, but maybe. All right, listen, I love hearing about the success of fellow operators and fellow founders. I love this business. We love this industry. So while 2003, when you started, doesn't seem that long ago. A lot has clearly changed since those days when Philz first opened. For our audience, for our listeners, can you share a little bit about, what does it take to build a restaurant today? What does it take? Because you've learned a lot. As you said, you knew nothing when you started other than when you and Dad were gritty and respect and hustling, but a lot's changed and you've learned a lot. So what can you share about what it takes to build a restaurant or a venue such as Philz today?
I think the most important thing is you got to love what you're doing. You got to love the product that you're selling. I see a lot of technology first companies that sell food, and it's very difficult to succeed because you have to love food if you're in the food business. Technology is an enabler. It's not the starter. So I think you really got to love, particularly if you're in the restaurant or food or beverage industry, you got to love it. You got to love it. That's number one. Number two, if you have ambitions to grow, you got to be both stubborn with your vision and your values, but like a sponge on learning and figuring out how to grow, make mistakes, bring in people, listen to different ideas. So you got to be a learning machine, because if you haven't done it before, you really need to learn. You need to listen to people who've done it, and you need to take some of things from their playbook. You need to also live by your values, and you need to blend those things and do it one step at a time. The other thing I'd say is a lot of people default to fundraising. in the early days of a business like this, your best investors are your customers. You have to earn every single customer that walks in the door. And if you have one store and you're doing great, you should do so great that you earn enough cash to open up your second store, your third store, your fourth store. So I'd bootstrap as long as possible so you can really stay in the game and understand all aspects of the business and build that love and that culture. And then from there, if you have ambitions, then you start, bringing in, it's kind of these milestones. You reach these milestones. Running one store is very different than running 10 stores, and running 10 stores is very different than running 50.
It's almost 1 to 2. You just doubled your footprint.
It's easier to run 20 stores than 4 stores. And the reason is that 4 stores, you're not making enough money to afford salaries.
Build the infrastructure. Yeah,
exactly. So it's a tricky situation. I used to get called at 3 a.m. to, the window got broken. Who are they going to call? I was wearing 40 hats, but that's what you got to do. Yeah, that's what you got to do.
I want to interject. I know, Shatz, you're gonna take over in a second, but I just want to comment. And maybe here's a little inside baseball on Branded. A disproportionate number of our founders and CEOs, more than half, actually cut their teeth in the industry. They started somewhere in the hospitality industry. Maybe they were a barback or a busboy or a waiter or a bartender or a barista, but they started the industry. Now, that doesn't mean we only invest in companies that where somebody cut their teeth. But if they didn't cut their teeth, and the key word, Jacob, you said was listening, being a sponge. You don't have to have gone through the trials.
What did you just say, Jimmy?
Exactly. You don't have to go through the trials and tribulations. But if you didn't go through them, if the importance of actually welcoming ideas and listening to experience of those who did is so important, because this is a unique industry that I like to say is the most misunderstood, because everyone feels they understand it. They understand it from a perspective of a guest, and they have experience as a guest at a coffee shop, at a restaurant, at a hotel. They have a guest experience, and they then project that onto what it must be like to run that business. Running it is very different than being the guest. And I think that's why I'm harping on this, because, Jacob, you said listening and sponge, and those resonate with me, because that to me is what delineates and differentiates the people that grow and really succeed, because you can't do it all on your own. So anyway, sorry, Shatz, I digress.
I wanted to share. I was just thinking about what you just said about somebody breaks a window at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're going to call you. It just reminds me of what I would always say as an operator myself. For so many years, it's, operating a restaurant, you have to have a lot of hats, even if you have 4 stores, 1 store, 5 stores, 100 stores, you really do, because you got to be, you're the operator. You got to know how to wash dishes, because that could happen sometimes. You got to know how to bus tables, because you probably got to do that at some point, right? You got to be able to host and seat and greet people, because you probably got to do that. You probably got to be an electrician, because at some point, some electrical issue happens and it needs attention right now. I can't wait till tomorrow. You got to be a plumber, because there's always a plumbing issue and you got to fix that right away.
And by the way, today you have to be a technologist. You have to be a data analyst. You have to be a data miner. Like all of a sudden today you have to be a
psychologist, human resource director. You got to wear a lot of hats, And I just reminds me, I was at a panel here in New York this past week about the state of the industry. It was all hospitality people, and we were all together, and I felt like it was what is it, like the cone of silence, Joe? What is that? You know what I mean? It was a happy place. It was a safe place. And I said, every single person in the world, or certainly in the country, should have to spend like 1 year working in hospitality, just 1 year. And that would give you an understanding of how to treat people, and what it's like, and it was really meant to be like in New York, we have all these politicians making all sorts of crazy rules and laws all the time. And I said, have any of these people that made any of these rules ever worked in a restaurant? Because they're making these rules for us and they never worked in a restaurant. Go work in a restaurant for a couple of years and then make some rules, Anyway, it was just something
to your point, you can't make a decision in the hospitality business behind a desk. Get your ass out on the floor with the people.
Gotta be in the store. Yeah, you gotta be in the store. Anyway,
gotta be there.
Jimmy, go ahead with your next question, because it's a doozy.
Okay, yeah. Listen, first of all, I love what you just shared and from your experience and learnings and the growth and success you've had with Philz. But I'm really fired up also to talk about your current work in the investment space. So much like us, Schatz, myself, and the team at Branded, your passion is not just to invest, but it's really to help founders. And particularly in their early stages, when really that's where I think it is most impactful and influential. Can you share a little bit about what what do you look at in companies and the founders you work with? What gets your attention and gets you want to lean in either with your time, your capital, or both?
Yeah, it's a great question. And real quick, so the little holding company that we created has three parts to it. It's investments, it's acquisitions, so we buy small businesses that we understand and could grow, and then build. So the little it's like a little studio, incubation studio. So those are
awesome.
three. On the, I love helping pretty much any founder that's really serious. Right? Because sometimes when you're early on and you're not sure, it's hard to figure out what you want to do in life. People have ideas, and I always advise people to go play and try things that feel right. And then you just iterate from there, from things that you really, you love. But I think what I pay attention to is, number one, do I understand it? Is it within my circle of competence, as Warren Buffett would say? I have to understand it. If I don't understand it, if it's semiconductors or healthcare, I'm not touching it. That's number one. So do I understand? Number two, is the founder excellent? So excellence is defined into two ways: character and competence. Do they have good values? Are they a good person? Are they an honest person? Are they willing to learn? Are they passionate? And then competence. Do they know what they're doing, and do they have a point of view that's differentiated? So it's, do I understand it? Is the person behind it absolutely excellent? And the reason in the early stages you got to put more emphasis on the person is that there's so many iterations to get to the final product. Your first initial idea might not be exactly it. Maybe there's some version of it. If you have the wrong person, they might just give up, or they might not have that proper diagnosis. If you have the right person, they have an hypothesis, they go after it, they iterate, they go after it, they iterate until they find something that works. And then they're good enough with people that they can attract great people to help them grow. So do I understand it? Is the founder great? Is there a lot of potential, right? So do I think that this can help millions of people? That's very important. And in conjunction with that, I'm really a big fan of cash flows over just raising a lot of money. So I really want to be able to see a clear line of sight to a sustainable cash flowing business model that's not overly reliant on constant fundraising, because something's going to go wrong, just like it has and it is, where things blow up and it doesn't work.
Funds dry up.
Yeah, so these are some of the things I pay attention to. And I also think simplicity is very, very, very important. If I can't understand something in 10 minutes, I have to pay attention to that. And I've made mistakes where if I try to continue to understand it,
pie in the face.
Yeah, hits you in the face. So those are some of the things I look for. I don't care if you haven't done it before. I don't care if you worked at McKinsey or you've worked at a grocery store. I don't care. I'm looking at you right now. What are you doing? Right. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? So those are some thoughts.
That's awesome.
Schatz, I'm going to let you jump in, but to our listeners, that was gold, Jerry. That was gold.
No, really, it is. It's at the end of the day, it really is. And I think the giving folks a chance is really important. So like you just said, it doesn't matter if you're a McKinsey or you're working at a grocery store. It doesn't mean that your idea is any better or worse, so and I think it's really awesome. Changing
that segment was sponsored by McKinsey, one of the world's leading consulting and advisory firms. We don't care if you work there or a grocery store, but McKinsey.
The last thing I'll say, and it's tied to all this, which is you got to do the work.
Yes.
If you don't have the work ethic, or you feel entitled, or you feel like, oh, I'm too good for that job, you're not going to work. It's not going to, you shouldn't be a founder,
There
So
you go.
Yeah,
you
no,
got to
you're
do the work.
100% right.
Got to do the
Listen,
work.
changing gears just a little bit. Look, you look at Jimmy, he's a handsome devil. He's not only an attractive young fella, but he's also an incredibly talented writer. And Jimmy, he launched really just a weekly update, really an email going out to our investors to keep them updated on everything happening, and that has now blossomed beautifully into the Branded Weekend update, which Jimmy writes every weekend. And you have, from what I understand, you are an incredible writer, and you launched a Jacob Substack. While I don't want to get too much into the differences between the two, I really want to take this conversation to something interesting that everyone's talking about right now. It's ChatGPT. Everyone's talking about ChatGPT, and can that help operators? Can it help business owners? Can it create more content, et cetera? I mean, I know for me, I've been using ChatGPT for like 20 years. My ChatGPT was Mel Brooks and Jerry Seinfeld. That's where I get all my content from. Okay, that was my analog chat. Whatever they said, I knew I could go to a party or dinner. I could say it and be like, "That's gold, Jerry." Let's go. So that was my ChatGPT. But no, seriously, Jacob, I'd love to hear your thoughts on ChatGPT, because Jimmy does not use it for his weekend update. That is all original content. What are your thoughts on that? What's going on with this ChatGPT?
Well, it's very impressive, and I think AI is a real thing, and it's going to change a lot of things. But I think you got to step above and look at things from the cloud and the skies, and think of these things as tools, right? So there are a lot of tools being created and advancing at a really rapid rate that are going to help us in many, many different ways. But what you can't do, what these things can't do, is they can't generate the ideas. They necessarily don't have the judgment on the timing of when to do an idea, the creativity of it. So I think these tools are beautiful and they should be used, but don't let them do the thinking for you. You got to think. The most powerful tool we have is the ability to think for ourselves. And a lot of people are not thinking for themselves. I'm a real big fan of first principles thinking. I know it's a term used a lot, but it's really, really important, because what it really means is that you just keep things simple and you step back and you ask why and you think. So don't let these tools, don't delegate thinking to these tools. Use them as tools to help you, but think for yourself. And I think that's probably the I'm still digesting all of it as it evolves, right? I'm no
you're
expert,
thinking right now. You're stopping,
but
and you're thinking.
You got to think. You got to really think about. Think for yourself. And I use it as a tool. I love it. I selfishly created the Substack actually because writing forces me to round out what's in my head and my thoughts. And sometimes my brain moves so quickly. So when I sit down and I write, I feel a little bit smarter at the end of my writing, because I feel like I was able to articulate things. And when you articulate things, it's really good. I think it's a wonderful tool. And I think that the tool is gonna be a huge shift in how people work, and how services are provided over the next 10 years. But I also think that what's more important now is the question, not what's going to change, but what's not going to change in 20 years. People are still going to want a deli sandwich. People are still going to want a great cup of coffee.
Who doesn't love a deli sandwich?
Yeah, exactly. So I try to think about what's going to change and what's not going to change.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's
ChatGPT's not making my tuna on rye, is it?
Look, I love your comment. I love your comment about your writing, and again, I appreciate it, because people ask me a lot about the Branded Weekend update and how long it takes to put together. For me, it sharpens my thinking. It's quiet time where I get to gather the week we just finished and think about digesting that and what's to come. And I find it to be incredibly helpful, selfishly for my own positioning, and thinking about this industry and deployment of capital and trends. The fact that other people enjoy it, that's a gift, because I would probably just do it even if I just wrote it for myself, because it really helps me really almost mindset about this business that we're in. So I respect and appreciate. And I got to start reading Jacob's Substack, because
I just started it, and but one quick thing about what you said. The way I think about this is, when you eat a meal and sometimes you're eating quickly, you're not taking time to digest. So it's the same thing. The week has finished. All this information has been coming at you. Writing helps you digest. So I love that. Yeah.
I use a Negroni. That helps me digest.
That helps. Or Scotch.
But writing also is very helpful too to the digestive tract.
Or writing. Okay, listen. We opened up the show. We talked about Jacob's past. We now spent some time talking about his present. And now we're going to move on to what is next for Jacob. And by the way, you've got a lot going on. So by all means, please do not think it's kind of like, what have you done for us lately? But you're a person, I think, who continues to learn, evolve, and you're like Wayne Gretzky, anticipating where the puck is going. So what's next for Jacob?
Energy, good energy. I try to, I'm more and more, I'm trying to be aware of the way I feel after a day's work, and what gave me good energy. You want to spend time in life with people and things that give you energy, not eat your energy. So on the eat side, let me avoid that stuff. Let me do less of the thing that eats my energy, and let me do more of the things that give me energy. So man, I think that's really what I'm trying. That's really what I'm trying to do. You got to
spend more time with people you enjoy spending time with. Yeah, I think it's the asshole factor. You have to eliminate the asshole factor out of your life.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody once said to me, Jacob, they asked me why am I so happy since they've known me in our world of branded, and I spent almost 3 decades in more of a Wall Street environment, and I learned a lot and had some incredible experiences, made some great relationships. But I will say that this community on the food service and hospitality side, it's really a very good group. There's a community that is unlike any I've ever seen. Of course there's competition, but there's still a decency, and I think it comes with being in the service world. And to Shatsy's point, the asshole factor in this industry, I feel, is as low as any I've ever seen. It doesn't mean we don't have them. Of course, everyone does. Every industry does. But I feel it's less in this one because of the shared experiences that we have. So I really dig what you just shared about that, and the energy, the positivity. Listen, when we started this podcast, we did it because we like to talk, and we love to have guests, and we like to ask them questions. And when I say we, I'm not French. I mean me. But we also know that our guests like to ask us some questions at times. So let's kick off talking back. We're going to give you the microphone, Jacob. You can ask us a question or two. Anything you like. Nothing is off the table. As I like to say, Jacob, the microphone is yours.
I guess what I'll ask both of you guys is, what gives you the greatest energy, and what eats your energy? What do you enjoy the most and enjoy the least in what you're doing? And if you can spend more time, if you had a chance to, map out your next few years, what would you be doing?
It's a great question.
It's a great
Shatsy.
I mean, just for me, I think you touched on a little bit earlier, at least on the restaurant side of things, and we still are very much restaurant operators, so I'm going to go there. I love when you see customers or hear customers, and most times they have no idea who I am when I'm in the restaurants, and I'll just be sitting there having a drink or whatever. And when I hear them loving something that I know that I had a part in creating, whether it's a new menu item, whether it's part of the recipe, whether it's maybe a cocktail, whatever it is, just something, a design element of the restaurant, a chair, a picture, something interesting. Just when I hear customers loving things that we thought about and we really did, it wasn't just like, just throw things around. It was really very well planned and thought about how we design them, the font we picked, the sign, the color scheme, whatever it is. And then they recognize that and they're talking about, oh, I love this. Oh, did you see that? Oh, look at how good does that sound? Or they're even, I love that. That just makes me just crazy with excitement. I get so happy. That for me that's why I love the business. I just love that. It's making people happy is what I really enjoy. So for me, when I take it back to the restaurant, that for me is just great.
That's awesome. Shatz, I got to tell you, that was a lovely answer.
Well, because talking to Jacob, he's really making me so soothing. I feel like I'm really getting to know myself. I'm like,
I'll send you guys the bill afterwards. Don't worry about it.
No, it was such a lovely and thoughtful answer. I'm almost surprised you gave it. But anyway, and that's my backwards compliment to you. No, I will go with. I'll share, Jacob, that for me, we cast a wide net when we started Branded, and like a lot of, I think one of the things I enjoy most about working with emerging and young companies is we ourselves, we may not be young, but we ourselves are an emerging and young company. In fact, some of our earliest investments, that we made in the first 12 months of our existence, were in companies that only had not even 12 months of existence, or maybe just a little more. So I feel a kinship and a bond with a lot of the companies because they're entrepreneurs and we're entrepreneurs. So I really enjoy that. But we cast a wide net, and we shared a lot of love for this industry and the quality people. But I will say, I think one of my desires is to start somewhat reining it in. It doesn't mean we don't want to meet new people and deal with new people, but the fact is there are folks I'm really enjoying. And on that basis, I want to do more with them. Like you've taken your business and gone from Philz Coffee to now working with other founders and other entrepreneurs. And I want to continue to work with good people that have similar principles and values, and grow and scale together. And at the end of the day, if things don't work out, we could always part ways as friends. I'm not looking for enemies in any way, shape, or form, but there are people we're doing good things with, and I want to do more stuff with these good people that I've been fortunate to meet and figure out what's important to them, and how to grow and scale together in this kind of next chapter in my professional career. And I aspire to make this my last because I'm having a really good time. So,
and you're old as dirt, Jimmy. So.
And I'm old as dirt. That's right.
I mean, honestly, you don't have that much time left,
Those are great answers. Those are great answers.
There you have it.
All right, listen, Jimmy, we're gonna change gears here. I'm gonna take it up a notch, okay? Because we were bringing it down. We were like Fraser Crane moments, we were like
DJ Shatzy. DJ Shatzy, taking it back up now. Take it back up, Shatzy.
The food service feud right now, okay, Jacob. Every week on LinkedIn, we ask over 100 million folks out there on LinkedIn.
There is his numbers.
We have a poll every week on LinkedIn. It's always a fun poll. It could be about the restaurant business, hospitality, it's food, drinks, whatever, just something related to our industry. We ask, 100 million people on LinkedIn, and we get usually it's a phenomenal response. It's the LinkedIn, the guy who started LinkedIn, I think Wiener something or other,
Reed
called
Hoffman.
me. Was it?
Reed Hoffman, and then Jeff Wiener was the CEO. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that guy, he emails me. He emails me all the time. He's like, Shatz, I got to tell you, your LinkedIn poll, it's crashing the servers. I had to get more like AWS cloud space. So it's really cool that he knows me and he does that. That's how unbelievable this is. So anyway, get your buzzer ready.
I'm ready.
We asked over 10 trillion people on LinkedIn. Okay, get it ready. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Is your favorite type of French fry? Go.
Bam.
Jimmy, go.
Straight, regular French fry.
Ding,
regular.
Ding. The number one answer on board is straight. But I got to tell you, Jacob, you are our guest. So do you care to take a guess at what number 2, 3, or 4 might be?
Parmesan truffle fries.
Yeah. No, I see where you're going with that. I see, and I love that. I love that
too. Yeah,
but it's. I think we're looking for the type of the cut of the French fry. Maybe we weren't clear. Terrible. The producer did not ask the right question. You were thinking like the flavor French fry.
Crinkle. What do they call it? Crinkle or waffle?
They've never been in my kitchen.
So by the way, I'm going to go right now, and I'm looking. The number one flavored French fry is truffle. So you win there, okay? But no, we were looking for crinkle cut, then waffle, and curly, okay? But straight Jimmy, you got it anyway. But I love the truffle. I do. I just
want to say that I just want to put an honorable mention. I think the tater tot has been disrespected by this category. I know it's a tot, not a fry.
I am so with you because nobody. I mean, Jimmy, at Big Daddy's, what do we serve?
We lit up with tater tots. Everyone loves the tater tot.
Tater tots are really good.
Sweet potato tots.
We need the Tater Tot Association to call into our producer and say, "Respect the tot. Respect the tot."
Curly fries too. I'm surprised Curly's number 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a terrible.
The Chick-fil-A has the waffle fries. That's why that's number 3.
That alone,
it's really good. Yeah.
All right, listen. You remember at the top of the show, we played our game, 2 truths and a lie. I listed 3 facts about our friend Jacob. 2 were true, 1 was false. Just a refresher, the 3 factoids were Jacob's hidden talent is juggling. Jacob used to work at Abercrombie & Fitch as a model. Jacob almost got drafted by the NBA. Shats, do you care to guess?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think I have this nailed, okay? I'm going to say, look, he's 6 feet tall. We know that because I asked him that. I'm looking at the guy. He's absolutely gorgeous. Jimmy, he's on par with as good looking as you, and that is really incredible because you are an 11. 11. Okay?
Oh, Shatsy, stop.
I'm going to say right now that that he is he was not almost drafted to the NBA. He was an Abercrombie Fitch model and juggling in his secret talent.
All right, Jacob, what is the answer, sir?
You are correct.
Oh, you're looking beautiful. I mean, look at that. I mean, because everybody almost got drafted to the NBA. A 5'8" Jew from the Upper East Side almost got drafted. That was me, by the way. Oh, awesome. Tell me about the, first of all, Abercrombie & Fitch model. Where were you in Abercrombie & Fitch?
I wouldn't call it a model, but I was
standing outside the bathing suit of the
store, the front of the store, selling jeans, bringing people in.
Oh, wait, did you have no shirt on in a bathing suit? Because they used to do that back in the day. I remember, like, these good-looking guys and girls that stand outside.
I was like, hey, can I undress? You know, and they said, no, you can't do that. So I was wearing a shirt and those little flip-flops. I sprayed the hell out of my neck with that.
Oh, you got to smell good. Yep.
And then I would just walk by with jeans, and I'm like, "Hey, you can look better. Come on in."
Would you juggle while doing that? Were you juggling things while doing that?
Juggling took place at home.
So you're just juggling.
Juggling took place at home.
My kids they all love. My middle one loves juggling. He juggles anything in the house. What is that affection?
Yeah.
So
how much? Oranges are good.
How many can you juggle at a time?
4.
Whoa!
I'm really good with 3. 4, I would say I'm a 7 out of 10. With 3, I'm 10 out of 10.
Boom.
I like it. All right. I got to tell you, Jimmy, I am really good at this game, by the way, I'm thinking.
You are really good at this game.
You win truffle fries.
Yeah,
I buy you truffle fries next time in New York.
If this was an occupation of guess true or false, I think I do really well.
There you have it.
Anyway, listen, let me go. That was great. Excellent. Let's go to the branded quickfire because I got to tell you, we got more stores to open. That other-ish store, that 75-ish, I want it to be the 76th. Store and we got to get going. Branded quickfire, like the LinkedIn poll, is very popular. There is nothing more popular than branded quickfire. That's not joking around. That is the real truth. Okay, I'm going to ask you, Jacob, 5 lightning round questions. Okay, don't think too hard. Just give me what first thing that comes into your mind. Okay, so I know you like to think a lot. Don't think too hard on this. Let's just go real quick. Okay, I'm not talking now. Here we go. Mimosa or Bloody Mary?
Mimosa.
Where are you getting dinner from tonight, sir?
Home cooked meal.
What is your favorite food city in the world?
LA.
Where is your favorite place to travel?
Greece.
Nice.
Can't go wrong with that. Okay, here we go. Number 5. If you were to challenge Jimmy Wright to a good old-fashioned game of hopscotch, who do you have better odds of beating? Jimmy, show me your cane.
Both, because I'm very competitive. I do not lose. I will not lose. I have to win. So
both. Hopscotch? So what are you doing? You like knocking me out to win? You playing dirty?
Maybe.
I got to tell you, Shatsy.
Maybe I haven't played hopscotch in a long time.
I respect Jacob's answer. He's competitive. He's not going to lose. I think in questions like this, Jacob may or may not have observed you have a little bit of ADD, a little attention, like a little. I think you'd lose interest in that game so fast. You'd be off doing something else.
Because isn't hopscotch? You got to throw to the 1, and you got to go pick it up, and you got to throw to the 2, and you got to hop in there.
Yeah.
By 3, I'd be like, I
on the floor.
I got to get out of here. Okay. By the 3rd thing, I got to get.
I think Jacob would beat us both. I think you'd lose interest, Shatsy, or attention very quickly.
I lost interest already.
And the idea of me hopping and bending down and pick stuff up is a little difficult. Anyway, but there you have it. Jacob, I respect and agree with your answers. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today and for sharing all your great insights. Really love not just what you're doing with Philz, but what you're doing in this space, and really respect it and value it and appreciate it, because this is a community-oriented business and industry, and the things you're doing are really awesome. So we appreciate everything you're doing to support the industry that we love. If you want to get in touch with Jacob directly, you can email the podcast team at podcast@brandedstrategic.com. We'd be happy to make the introduction. To our listeners, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. We know there are literally hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and the fact is the Hospitality Hangout continues to soar and continue to attract subscribers and whatnot, and we just feel so fortunate that people are enjoying this. Please tune in next week, because we're going to come to you live from Mertech out in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, baby. Live from Vegas.
A multi-unit restaurant technology conference in Vegas. When Branded shows up, and we're coming with like 8 or 9 of our partner companies, this is going to be a great one, and we're very excited about it. And finally, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any of the exciting guests we have coming up. And better yet, invite a friend to hang out with us the next time. So this is Jimmy Frischling, your finance guy, saying thank you to Jacob and passing it back to my boy Shatsy.
And thank you, Jimbo. And I just want to give all our listeners a little shout out to Philz Coffee. That's PHILZ coffee.com. So go check it out and check out their 75-ish locations. Great app. Looks like a really cool app. A lot of really cool stuff. By the way, they got a lot of merch. Philz hoodie in $19.99. But if you call right now, we're giving 20% off on Philz hoodie. I just made that up, everybody. I don't think there's any discounts on any of Philz hoodie. But he does have some really cool merch, a lot of gift cards, a lot of cool stuff. So thank you, everybody. This is Shatsy Hospitality Hangout signing off. Thank you, Jacob. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Have a good one. Thank you.